Hey everybody, I'm going to start doing what I like to call 5-minute story time, and in these I basically take a concept, it'll be a new one each week, and I just write on it for 5 minutes and see what I come up with. So this week is a little bit of a sci-fi thriller, I don't know what you want to call it. Anyway, we'll call it Warp Speed, and thank you for joining in. Chet was in a hurry. He groaned at the watch face looking back at him with bad news. He was already an hour behind schedule. It'll be smooth sailing from here, he decided with a deep sigh. He was ready to be home. He could already imagine Reggie rushing down the steps to greet him, Beth hot on his heels. He smiled. They made it all worthwhile, all the busyness, all of the corporate structures, all the mitigating and mediating, everything worth it. He imagined her unruly curls and cocked smile and shook his head, chuckling. He walked faster, shouldering his backpack while shuffling through the contents of his jacket pocket in search of his keys. The first large raindrops fell around him, slapping ominously against the pavement. The sky was dark and ready to unleash the pressure building in the pregnant bellies. The clouds looked angry, to say the least. Chet tossed his bag into the passenger seat and climbed in after it. After turning over the engine and flicking on the wipers, he pulled his phone from the front pocket of his backpack and called the contact labeled Babe. The phone rang through his dashboard once, twice.
Hello,
The voice chirped.
you must be on your way home.
She sounded hopeful. Chet smiled, his heart already warming from the day of charts and graphs, enough to make it go cold. The calculations began to melt away. Yep, I called as soon as I left the building.
Great. How did everything go?
He heard Reggie groan close to the phone. Beth chuckled.
Poochie says hello. I don't know if you heard that or not.
He laughed, squinting into the downpour washing over his windshield. He looked at the temperature on the dashboard screen. Yeah, the weather's getting a little weird, so it might be a little slow going at first. His heart sank at the thought of it. It had already been a long day.
Do you just want to stay another night? I could rebook the hotel or something. Then you can just head back in the morning once you've gotten some sleep.
Not a chance. He flipped on his headlights. But on that note, I should probably get on the road before it gets any worse.
I'm looking at the weather app. It says it's only like 40 degrees there. Any colder and it might start freezing.
He could sense the tension increasing in her voice. He laughed lightly to reassure her everything was fine. Don't worry so much. I've made the trip like 100 times. I'll be just fine. You and Reggie keep the bed warm. I'll be there as soon as I can. But I'll call you in a couple hours, okay? Once I get down the road a ways.
Okay, so about the halfway point then.
He could imagine her looking out the window while she spoke. He smiled and nodded, as if she might see him. Yep, midpoint, exactly. He pulled slowly to the exit of the parking lot. A blur of taillights drew out and away as far as his eye could reach in one direction, and a cascade of bright headlights glared through from the other. It's heavy traffic though, so I'll call you as soon as I get there. Love you, babe. He meant it.
I love you too. Hey, drive careful though. Take your time, please. Don't rush or feel like you have to push the conditions, okay? We miss you, but we can wait. Can't we, little silly face?
She was doing the voice she did when talking directly to Reggie. Alright, I will. I miss you too. Talk to you soon. The call ended. Chet pulled out into the slow vein of traffic. A new text message popped up. It was Beth.
I have a cool story idea I'm working on. Thank you for the inspiration. It'll help me pass the time.
Followed by 3 large smiley faces. He smiled and shook his head. He wanted to return a message, but instead, he followed her direction and kept his focus on getting home safe and in one piece. A flash of lightning caught up the sky. A rumble of distant thunder followed soon after. It seemed too cold for a thunderstorm. The rain was turning to sleet. Chet revved the engine into gear, keeping up with the cars ahead of him, as they all made their way to the chutes and concrete spirals, leading them each closer to their final destinations. The first leg of the trip went as smooth as he could have expected. An energy drink and gas station coffee had him white-knuckling a sharp corner in the road. The rain was still bordering sleet, and the 2-lane highway was slick. Hydroplaning had never been easier. He kept both hands on the wheel, eyes ahead even as the phone lit up the captive vehicle. Against his better judgment, he glanced over just long enough to see Beth's message. In the next moment, everything happened fast, and yet slow enough the details imprinted like a vivid, horrific dream. Chet's eyes pulled away from the phone, drawn back to the windshield by bright headlights, sliding out of control straight toward him. The railing on the other side wasn't strong enough to withstand the crash. They would both fly into the deep ravine. There would be no chance of survival. All these images flashed through Chet's mind. Suddenly, all he wanted to do was call Beth and tell her he loved her one last time. His grip tightened on the steering wheel. His eyes squinted shut against the blinding headlights, and the sound of a blaring horn flashed through him. The hiss of semi-truck brakes brought him back. Chet slowly opened his eyes to find himself at a standstill under the bright lights of a gas station overhang. Chet sucked in a breath. He couldn't seem to catch enough air. His heart quickened. He laughed out loud, and then frowned, close to hyperventilating. He pried his fingers from the wheel, and did his best to slow down his breathing. What the hell? He opened the door, and threw a shaking leg from it. Where am I? Did I die? He felt his arms, his legs, his face. No mangles, no burns, no missing limbs. He gasped, and breathed a sigh of relief, one after the other, nearly choking on his own tongue. Chet tumbled out of the vehicle, holding himself up on the frame. He took in the surroundings, trying his best to make sense of it all. He'd just faced what seemed to be an inevitable, fatal moment, and instead of finding himself in a holding space full of white light, he was in the familiar gas station that normally marked his final stop before returning home. How could that be? How could he have made it that far? He checked his watch to confirm, only to find 4 hours had passed since his last memory. He watched a semi pull up to the exit. The empty road welcomed the whale, its lights highlighting the countryside, casting shadows to dance in the glow as it moved away. His breath came more easily, though no explanation seemed to. Did I lose time? Or is that just how trauma worked? Had the other car made it out all right? He couldn't remember anything. He wandered back to the car to look for anything that might answer a single question. There wasn't a mark, not a new ding, no scratches. He picked up his phone, and for a moment he stared into it, head swimming around the final message from Beth.
I can't wait to read this to you. It's probably the best story I've written so far. It's about a guy who dodges death by leaping forward in time and bypassing the moment meant to take him away, and all because the one who loves him decided she can't live without him in that same moment. Really sappy, kind of romantic. I don't know. I wanted to try something new, but you'll have to tell me what you think.
As he was reading, a torrent of messages poured in, as if he was just now receiving signal.
Babe, how's the drive? Haven't heard from you. Getting worried. Chet, I really need you to text me. It's been 4 hours.
His phone fell into his lap. The music playing through the gas station parking lot droned. Chet sat back in his seat, leaning his head against the headrest for a moment. He watched the screen until it went black before waking it up and typing, "I'm almost home. I can't wait to hear about it. Sorry to keep you waiting." 3 dots appeared immediately, as if she'd been waiting by her phone.
You're in so much trouble, mister. You didn't message me at the halfway point. I've been freaking out. I'm glad you're safe. See you soon.
His hands were still shaking from the adrenaline as he typed. Same here. It was a little touch and go there for a bit. I'll be home in 20. Chet took a deep breath. The experience was already fading back into the mundane as he pulled out of the parking lot with no answers. He was well on his way to convincing himself he'd driven the 4 hours on autopilot after an almost tragic end. As he pulled into the driveway, all he could think of was the amazing night of sleep he was going to get, curled up with his 2 favorite allies. In the back of his mind, he couldn't kick the eerie sense growing that everything really had changed in ways he was still bound to figure out. Thank you for tuning in, and if you'd like to see more of these, please leave a comment and a like, and I'll see you next time.